right? When we retire, we assume that you don't have to worry about working for income, okay? Because the definition of retirement for some is somewhat sensitive. Say, oh, I love to work. I don't want never to retire, right? You heard of that. But so we retire. Okay, so for retirement,
for you guys.
right?
Welcome to Real Estate Real Advice, Oh My Home's very own podcast. Come join us every month as we chat with an expert in their field talking about all things property. I'm Audrey, your host, and today for this episode, we'll be talking about how today's consumers are having a better experience using tech-based platforms like our guest today, Money Owl, as well as Oh My Home, when it comes to buying a home, getting insurance, or planning and investing for the future, which are the biggest financial decisions in many people's lives. You want to make sure that the people who are helping you with these things have your best interest at heart, right? And offer cost-effective solutions so you don't end up paying too much for too little. And that's why we are joined by a very special guest today. We are joined by Colin Lai. He is the lead client advisor at Money Owl. Money Owl is a financial advisory and fund management company licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Colin, thank you so much for coming down and joining us at Oh My Home today.
Thank you, Audrey. Yeah, happy to be here.
Tell us more about yourself and more about Money Owl.
Sure. So my name is Colin, and I'm the lead client advisor at Money Owl. I started my journey at Money Owl since 2019, so I'm very blessed to actually be a part of this social enterprise since then. Yeah, and well, for me, I'm a father of two kids, one boy, one girl.
Oh, I have two boys.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm happy on the home front, and then on the other side, I used to teach for a good 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I used to teach physics. Yeah, so years back, and so it's a quarter life switch to financial planning. Yeah,
wow.
that's my story. So Money Owl is a social enterprise. We've been around since August of 2018. Yeah, and the thing about Money Owl is that we see ourselves as challenging ourselves to provide what you call the most comprehensive, conflict-free and competent financial advice, right, to anyone in Singapore who needs it. And by doing so, we sort of like developed Singapore's first bionic platform for anyone to do financial planning. So anyone who feels that they want to do it, they are always in safe hands in Money Owl. And to be also what you call unbiased, we have multiple insurers that we can assist on and advise on. And also the last thing about us is that we made it a point that every advisor is salaried.
Yes.
Yeah, not commission based.
Yeah, so that's something that we definitely want to talk about as well, because Oh My Home actually functions in a similar way.
Oh, that's good.
And we have found that this actually helps our clients. Before we go into our first segment, I did want to ask you about your thoughts on Money Owl being such a tech digital based platform.
Yes.
We have found that with sectors like real estate as well as financial advisory, in the past it was a very traditional human to human type transaction, but now everything is moving a little bit more towards the digital space.
Yes.
How has Money Owl been dealing with this change?
Okay. Yeah, because we beginning to realize that a lot of the young people, they're so familiar with technology, and so why not have technology built towards them using it, right, for important things in life. I mean, you mentioned about Oh My Home. To purchase a home is a big decision, right? So technology should move ahead, right?
Yeah.
So that it enables them to power up. Same for Money Owl. If you want to do a financial plan, you have to talk about so many different things. You got to talk about net worth, your cash flow, your goals in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to put everything together. And technology has proven to work, right, for a long time. So so we want to make sure that technology is not exclusive, but inclusive for anyone. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that the combination of the traditional human to human, in addition with the technology.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we made it a point that the technology doesn't overtake what is human, right? What is human? The human aspect, connection, helping clients to understand. Yeah.
Now we can go into our first segment,
Sure.
our first formal segment, which is called Story Time.
Sure.
Now, Colin, what we do with this segment usually is that we ask our guests to share a story that happened to them. It could be recent, it could be a little bit, in the past. It could be the most memorable family, the most memorable client you've worked with, and hopefully this will tell us a little bit more about how Money Owl functions as well.
So I did prepare a story. It's based on a long time back when I first started in this industry. So I did mention that 20 years ago I was a teacher, and about 8 years, about the quarter life of my life, I decided to come into the financial planning industry. So when I came into this industry, it was really to do good, to continue doing good, teaching, and then I saw the benefit of financial planning. So one of the early things I did was to door knock.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was it's an eye-opening experience. So yeah, and I realized it's a way to train one to face rejection with a smile. This one was in Bishan, so I recall knocking on doors and all that. And the entire day from morning we will knock on doors, and they would just slam the doors because apparently Bishan is very popular. So what happened was, one experience was that after being rejected many times and we were sweating, buckets and all that, then this Malay elderly lady, she opened the door wide and said, "Please come in." And at that point in time I was like, oh my god,
what's going on?
It's the first time, it's like so. So actually, I still remember that she served us very, very sweet teh-o, very sweet teh-o. Okay. Okay, but I mean, and she's very hospitable, very friendly, and so she shared about this story. Why she's. So she said that she appreciates the work that we do.
Okay.
Door knocking. I said okay, and she shared actually what happened was just about 5 years back. Actually, someone actually knocked on the door for their house, and at that point of time, her husband was the one that opened the door.
Okay.
Yeah, and so through that interaction, the husband purchased an insurance policy. All right, and just upon policy application and inception, exactly 6 months later, he passed on due to an accident. Yeah, he passed on. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. So I was quite taken aback because I didn't know I would be coming in for a story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and I actually very happy that it seemed like coming into the industry meant something, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
And here you are, somebody actually saying that she appreciates it. Of course, part of the whole sharing started, right? And she also shared a little bit more, and then she went on to share actually that. When the husband passed on, he was the only one earning for the family.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was too ill to work at that time, and she had 4 kids. Yeah, and the oldest daughter, she actually quit school to go out to work.
Family?
Yeah. So at that point of time, I realized that the husband had bought what you call a whole life insurance plan, and the payout was not high. It's only about $50,000. For a scenario like that, when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, that's just what happens. And so I realized the importance of a financial advisor who really comes in to allow you to share your dreams and helps you understand. Takes time to help you through this decision. Yeah, so that's to me a kind of a life change moment for me. It's not about buying or taking action. Yeah, so I realized then the value of advice is deeper. It's deeper than just getting someone to take action. Yeah, so it sort of like changed the way I look at the work that we do. Yeah, and then it helped me also bridge to come into Money Owl. Yeah, because this is where exactly we are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing in the industry.
Wow, and I'm sure she doesn't even know the impact that she's had on you.
Yeah,
her story.
And she was so warm about it, right?
Yeah.
And she really appreciated. Yeah, at least have something. Yeah. So
Wow.
So I mean that's where I feel that financial advisors play a very big role here.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
But before we got into this story time, you actually did talk about a little bit about the commission structure or
Sure.
this salary structure that Money Owl has. So like I mentioned, Oh My Home, we do function in a similar way. We do something similar. We do have salaried agents, but they don't get a commission based on the value of the home that they sell. So this kind of like disincentivizes them trying to push high quantum properties to people. So for example, like a $300,000 home that's being sold, the agents will get the same bonus or reward as they would if they sold $1 million property, right? So so it's not the same, but our guys still have a bonus, but it does work well enough, I think, because it levels the playing field for all of our clients. So at Oh My Home, we try to make sure everyone is treated equally, every home is treated equally, and we just wanted to hear from Money Owl's perspective, why did you guys decide to go with this salaried structure, and how do you think this has benefited your clients?
If you heard of people very afraid of financial advisors, it's purely because of that concern that when I come to you, will you tell me to buy another product? Like, when does it end, right? After one, after another, and another. Yeah. So being commission is being salary is very different, right? We tell our advisors that when you give that quality of advice, there's a very high chance that your clients will just, even if they don't buy anything from you, they will be recommending you to people because of the quality of advice. Right? And because there's no monetary reward, in that sense, there's not tied to your survival, then it benefits clients. So that's the base level.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing about Money Owl is why we chose to do this. The quality of advisors is, I would say, is higher. Let me explain why. Because when we go for interviews, can you imagine, right? We don't just accept anyone who just meets the basic criteria. We have to interview them, understand them about their life goals, who they are, why choose this, and all that. Why not go for the riches? Why come to Money Owl, right? So a lot of it is because people come to advisors come to Money Owl. They understand that Money Owl has a public mandate, right, to provide conflict-free, competent financial advice, right? And so they come to us because of that, and they are willing to take a stable salary to get this done. Right. So that's the beauty of having a salary instead of a commission. So going through all the pros of having a structure like yours, I'm just curious, why do you think people still go for a commission-based advisor? That's a good question. I think the reality is that everywhere you look, if you throw a dart and just hit all these financial advisors out there, I think maybe 95% of them are going to be commission-based. There aren't that many outlets out there that are fully salaried. You really can't find that many. There are some that give them a base, maybe a starting salary, and then on top of that still allow for commissions. But that salary is a baseline salary. It's not very high. So Money Owl, we made sure that the salary that advisors get is above market rate. So the thing about this is that we are then responsible for training these advisors. Because if they come in at a higher salary, we have to make sure that when they go and speak and talk, they know what they are saying, right? So that's what we are doing, and we make it a company effort. So one of the things that we are doing at Money Owl is that from the CEO to the accounts department to the compliance department to the, of course, all the client advisors, they are all on the CFP, the Certified Financial Planning Program. So we make sure everybody, including non-advisors, they are aware of what this is about.
Like, do people still come into Money Owl's office for their meetings, or is it mostly virtual now?
So way back in 2019, every advice and session was face-to-face. So at that point, I was a bit skeptical. I said, will people actually come to Money Owl to meet us face to face and all that? So in that year, surprise, people take leave to come to us. Okay, let me explain why. Because we explained to them that when you come in for a session with us, if you do need to purchase some insurance, we do give 50% commissions rebate back. So this is something that is helpful,
So you give the client 50% of their commission
of the product if they do purchase back, so in cash. So we sort of encourage them to come down. But there was a time when video calls were not popular.
Now
2020 came, right, and COVID came, right. So everybody's familiar with video calls. So today, our main mode is video call. Yeah, and it is, I would say, 90% of the time. But sometimes you get clients who feel that they just want to have that kind of interaction with a human
Yes.
advisor. And yes, so we do offer that still.
So just drawing some parallels to Own My Home as well. Now that we have, 360 angle videos for our listings, and so people can actually really take a look at what a house looks like without having to go there. Of course, if you wanted to meet with our agent and physically go there after you know that that's a house that you like, you can always do that. But it's so great to have technology on your side. It saves so
Definitely.
much time. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the I won't say the most exciting part of this
Oh, sure,
podcast,
sure.
but everyone I'm sure tuned in for this giveaway. Colin and his team at Money Owl have been so kind to gift the first 50 of our listeners the Comprehensive Financial Planning Online Report. And it's completely free. If you key in this promo code, I'm going to give it to you in a second. It's typically $99, right?
Yeah.
So if you key in this promo code, you can get it for free. The first 50 listeners. For people listening, the promo code is MOXOMH. Again, it's MOXOMH. And you can visit moneyowl.com.sg to claim this free report. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can scan this QR code. We're going to put it somewhere on the screen. And of course, the link will also be in the description. Now, Colin,
Yes.
I did it.
Oh, wow, okay.
I did it, and I got scared.
It's all right.
But when they say comprehensive report, they really mean it. It's a full report. 30 pages, would you say?
I think it's about less than 20.
Oh, less than
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
Well, when I was going through it, it was very thorough. I do want you to go through what this is
Sure.
with our listeners, but just wanted to let everybody know that I did this in maybe 10 minutes. I didn't have much on hand, but the great thing about it is that you use your SingPass to log in, and so all of your CPF stuff is automatically filled in. So I found that very helpful.
Yes.
And I do have some questions for you a bit later on
Sure.
to make sure that our listeners and viewers know exactly what they should have prepared before they go into it. But if you can walk through really quickly what this comprehensive report is and how this has helped some of your clients.
It's quite amazing. We have those coming in with not so high income to high income. I had one maybe about close to 60K a month of salary being put in. So at the moment I thought maybe he added an extra zero, 6,000. Yeah. So and the beautiful thing about this financial planning that we have here is that it really caters to this wide range. Yeah, that's the amazing thing about it. And the kind of value you get out of it is, you mentioned about 20 to 30 pages. But if you look at that, you realize that the first 8 to 10 pages is the main meat. The back is not so critical. Yeah. So it's not complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to read. I've been asked, what does it include? Right. Then, okay. So over time, I used to explain it in detail. Right. But then I tell people right now, if you can think of anything you need in terms of a financial plan, it's in there. Yeah, so I just explain it this way. First. So one popular area is young people. They come in and they want to buy a home, and they want to know, if I purchase a home, what is, how much should I spend? Yeah. So this actually gives them an idea of how they can spend. Okay, so back to the question on, if I spend so much for a home, do I have enough for my retirement, right?
Yes.
So this actually helps, because if you buy a home, you have to increase your expenses. You have to pay for maintenance, the mortgage, of course, and then you have cash and CPF, and this takes care of it. There's CPF in there. And so at the end of it, then you can see, with this home, I can retire on this amount. Right?
Yeah.
If you buy a home and you retire on a lower amount, then maybe there's an imbalance. So this actually gives good insight.
Yeah. So I'm not going to reveal my age on this podcast, but let's just say I'm a 30-something years old, right? And this is my first in-depth look, first financial report, right? What is, for our listeners and viewers, any particular sweet spot in terms of age that they should be doing this? How young can they go? How how old, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I would say that the first area to idea when is a good time to start is when you start earning an income. Yeah. Yeah, because when you start earning an income, then you have to ask if you have CPF contributions and all that. How does everything factor in? So anybody that is earning an income, yeah. So I would encourage anyone to just have this one-time experience of what our financial planning is about. Understand it for themselves.
Yeah, and also I find that this is also an ever-changing thing. And what I liked a lot about this report is that I could go back and update and change.
Yes,
things.
that's true. That's the beauty of the promotion that you mentioned. So today you take a snapshot of where you are now, and then later on, if you change, buy a new home or something like this, you can adjust the numbers.
Yeah,
and you can see how that affects you. That's the video.
Yeah, I think that's great. And also, besides that, if you're like me and you made some mistakes in your initial,
sure.
I went back and changed it. So actually, I want to take this time for you to give some tips for people who are planning on using this this tool to get a report. Anything that they should take note of. For me personally, I misread and I put in my full household expenses, but with only my income. I didn't know, do I have the expenses? Do I add in my husband's income? Should people take note if they have partners' income as well? Like any tips for people?
Yeah. So this financial planning, it's a personal one, right? So what it does is it requires you to put in your income and your expenses. So for parents, right? For example, myself, right? So if I'm responsible for tuition fees, right?
Yes.
So I will put that amount inside, right? And if my wife does the plan, she doesn't need to put that amount inside. Right?
See, now I know.
So that Okay, so why? It's very simple. I will explain a very simple way. If you combine income, husband and wife in this report, then it can't project CPF accurately because
it only has my CPF in there.
Yes,
my
correct.
husband's.
Yeah,
so do you,
things like that.
So do you suggest that I do the report, my husband does the report?
Oh yes, of course.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I think that this is a great tool, especially even for beginners, someone like me who has never done this before. It was very easy, and if anybody needs more help after the report, what can they do?
Sure. So if you need help with this, you can always come to Money Owl, and we have advisors to assist you. We also have a dedicated client support team. If you need help with that, they can also help you to talk about the technology and explain how you can fill up. Yeah, so you're well supported.
Fantastic. I'm going to read it out again for our listeners. The promo code is MOXOMH. Go to moneyowl.com.sg to claim this free comprehensive financial planning online report. Again, first 50 listeners get to claim this for free. It's typically $99, so be sure to go on today to get yours. So thank you so much for gifting this to our listeners, Colin.
Welcome.
And let's go on to our next segment, which is we want to get some tips from you. Okay, so I know that we spoke a little bit earlier about retirement. But let's just say someone comes to you and says, Colin, I want to retire at 60 years old. I would say that's the average age. A lot of people retire. They say, Colin, I want to retire when I'm 60 years old, and that is going to be happening X years from now. Can you go through a retirement checklist? What do you think people need to know in order to be able to hit their retirement goals?
Yeah, so that in Money Owl, we keep it simple. So we look at 3 areas. All right, when we retire, we assume that you don't have to worry about working for income. Okay, because the definition of retirement for some is somewhat sensitive. Say, I love to work. I don't want ever to retire. Right? You heard of that. But so we retire. Okay, so for retirement, right, is that you want to reach a state whereby you don't have to worry about work to earn an income to survive. So the first one I would say, enough retirement income for yourself, right? So in Singapore, at 65, CPF Life will pay, all right, if you can hit the enhanced retirement sum, you're about close to $2,000 a month. Right, so that will help you, right? Help you as a baseline. All right. The next one is healthcare costs.
Yes,
Yeah,
this is a
so
big one.
That's a big one, right? So in Singapore, it's of course known to people that healthcare costs can be quite expensive, right? Well, we always explain to clients who are at the retirement phase or nearing retirement that keep it simple first, right? The baseline is, do you have a medical insurance, which is the integrated shield plan,
Yes.
right? And this is something quite important because we've had clients who are close to 60 come in and try to apply for this integrated shield plan only to be rejected. Yeah.
Oh, why?
Oh, because it's very hard to get.
Oh.
Yeah, your health has to be very clean, very good standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second one, of course, in Singapore, we have this plan called CareShield Life. Okay, a lot of people don't really understand what it is. The word care actually comes from paying a caregiver to support you.
Right.
When you yourself cannot
Support yourself.
support yourself. Yeah. You cannot feed, you cannot walk on a flat surface without being supported, and all these things, toileting and all that, right? So you need to pay. So in Singapore, there are different levels of care. So if you feel that, oh, I will get a helper to come in and support me, that's about maybe 1,000 a month, right? Do you have that? Right? That's number one. Number two is if you want to put yourself in a nursing home, there is another insurance that you can buy to top up, just like the integrated shield. This is another one. And both of these, you can use CPF, MediSave to help you pay for that.
Okay.
So as long as you have that one, that's already a good peace of mind. Okay?
Okay.
And the last one is where Oh My Home comes in, right? Because
Yes.
you need to have a fully paid off home. Paid up
Yes.
home, yeah. A place to call your own, to go back home, shelter, yeah. And you don't have to worry about the mortgage.
Right.
So if you can have these three in your bag, then you should be able to enjoy your retirement journey. Home is very interesting, right? Later we talk about it, but the home is the biggest asset usually for us, right, in
Yes,
Singapore.
yep.
And sometimes we are so mesmerized by having a home,
Yeah.
and we, for example, we fail to balance it off with how we're going to end retirement. Right? We have a beautiful house, you spend so much, you work
Yes.
and scream. And then for retirement, we're asset rich and then we're cash poor. And then how does
Yes.
that happen, right? So a lot of Singaporeans, they are balancing this in such a way that they overweight on the home as an asset for the future,
Right.
a legacy. But then when retirement comes, they live very simply, right?
We definitely have to talk
Yeah, we
about this
talk
and
about it.
tips that you have for people.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's about the balance. So financial planning helps people to get that balance right.
We do want more tips from you, and we're going to use that for our final segment,
Sure.
which is called Review Our Top Content of the Month.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you know this, Colin, but at Oh My Home, we go really hard on social media. We upload a lot of videos on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and we like to give tips to people as and whatever pertains to property. And what we uploaded a few weeks ago that really did garner some reaction from Singaporeans is about passing on property to their kids, right? So property is, like you said, a lot of people's biggest assets, right? And we've seen recently that more people are actually buying older HDB flats with like 50, 60 years left on the lease because they tend to be bigger, it's better for their family.
Yeah.
But now they don't have to worry that much about legacy planning.
Yeah.
Because of all of the help that we get from the government. They can probably afford an HDB of their own when they grow up, and they're not allowed to keep 2 HDB flats anyway.
Yeah.
So what
true.
tips would you have for someone who wants to make sure that they plan the succession of their property? Like, let's just say you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah,
Colin?
yeah.
So you have
One home,
1 home.
2 kids.
Do you cut your house in half? Do you sell it, split the proceeds? Like, what is the best thing for people to do,
Sure. In Singapore, definitely legacy is something big. Whether you're well off or whether you're of a lower income, that is such a big discussion. Yeah, it's just an Asian thing to have something to give the next generation.
Yeah.
So naturally, property is becoming more. I wouldn't say becoming more, but it's always been there as a legacy plan.
Yeah, especially in Singapore, where 89% of our population owns their property.
Yes, correct.
This level of home ownership, you can't
yeah.
find in other places.
That's
so,
true. That's
yeah.
true. Yeah. So I would say that for this, I guess think about it in this way instead. Legacy should be looked upon as beyond physical property, cash, money, right? Think of legacy as meaning. You know, for a parent like myself, you know, it's about spending time with your children, bringing them up. And then the last thing you want to think about it is that, you know, I give the property to my daughter or my son, and then, then there's a struggle, you know.
Yeah.
I think ideally, the first thing is work on bringing them up well, such that maybe as brother and sister, they're always together, they believe in the bonding, and if one is gifted a property, this one can do something for the next person, right? And then, you know, it's beyond that, right? So that's the first level, all right? Now, in terms of gifting, in terms of maybe a legacy or inheritance or something like that, right? There are other things you can do beyond that, right? Some people, of course, advisors out there, they say, okay, maybe you buy insurance, and yeah, if the property is worth X amount, then you can buy, you know, upon death, then the value equal to the sum, you know, of payouts will be given to the other person, so there's equal balance. All right? In fact, that can work.
Okay.
Right, that can work. Yeah. So there's option. There are options.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But for most people, we usually have a property that we live in, and then usually most of us will think of gifting it to the most responsible child. Right? Yeah, so that might be a way. Now, if you give your property to both kids, and as you correctly said, if it's a HDB, then, you know, they have to sell it off, and then they just split the proceeds. Actually, it's also possible. Yeah, there is no need to actually have this physical property that they co-own, right?
Thank you so much, Colin, for sharing more about Money Owl and what you guys stand for. It's been a real pleasure talking to you about it. And for our listeners and viewers, one more time, just so you don't miss the free giveaway, which is a free financial planning report from Money Owl that is typically $99. Go online and claim it. The promo code, one more time, MOXOMH. Go to moneyowl.com.sg to claim it. If you're watching, we'll put up the QR code again and visit the link in the description box below. And Colin, tell us really quickly how people can find Money Owl.
Sure. So you can find Money Owl at www.moneyowl.com.sg. We also are found on Facebook, but most and everything you should be able to find on our website. Promotions are there, and also what you mentioned with Oh My Home, we will also be there. Yeah.
It's so interesting to hear about how you guys were salaried and how that has helped clients, and we're so glad that we are able, you know, to draw parallels with Oh My Home. We really enjoyed our chat today. So thank you so much, Colin, for joining us. And thank you for joining us, whether you were listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube. Thank you for joining Real Estate Real Advice, and we'll catch you guys in another episode next month. Bye.
Bye.